Ah, and good morning to everybody on a, what are we doing, Wednesday. And of course, we all had the Forge and Fire episode last night where you can finally see why I was wearing this. And thank God I don't need to wear it anymore. That was a rough time. So now I can talk about it since it's been aired, because it was asked of me to hold off from sharing that particular thing. And it was an injury that happened on the show months way back, about since June. If a lot of you now I can talk about is if you've noticed that I have not been doing the sharpness test, that pretty much I've just been doing the round one knife cutting and also just the kill test, is because exactly that. I did have an injury from the show. It really changed a lot. I don't know if you all understand what happened months back when I was going through some of the, I guess it would be considered the stages of grief. Think about it. Initially, when it happened, I was shocked. I'm like, this didn't just happen. And you get into this denial. There's no way that something like this could happen because I'm a guy who moves all the time. Then you're going to take that away from me. Then you get angry. It was hard. It was so hard because you're not asking why. Why does this have to happen now? And it's something that I do and love. Why am I injured and why can't I do that? And especially the hardest part was sitting back knowing that somebody's doing the test that I love to do. That's my job. Why am I still here? And you watch that. Then there's a bargaining part. Later on, as I started to heal, about just actually 3 days, later on, the rest of my body started coming in and saying, well, I can do it this way. And yes, I can, but it's still not 100%. Then eventually you accept things, and you go, okay, fine. This is what I'm going to do, and this is where I'm going to be. So I, just like everybody else, go through the very exact same stages as everybody did. But here was something that was different. Our community that we have over here, our community with our coffee work, I started to meet people who, while I kept this to myself, my issues, were telling me and sharing me their pain. Brian is no longer with us. Brian was going through cancer and he passed away. Trevor, remember Team Trevor? And a host of a lot of us over there who are going through things. And I'm like, how dare I try to even compare what I'm going through when they're going through so much more and they're asking me to give them positive stuff. I'm just like you, but then I realized that everything I say here has to mean something. And that's why we have this, right? And in many ways, this is what healed me, at the same time what really fueled why these talks are what these talks are all about. The morning coffee segments really were something I was supposed to do in the morning this is what I'm doing. Really, it's for my boys. Look me up on Facebook. This is what Dad's doing when he's away. Before I start my day, this is what I say. I want to share some good things for you. But it evolved into so many other things. So, looking back at that, the lessons I've learned is, if you don't focus on yourself and you focus on others, it takes away some of the pain, because you always realize somebody always has it worse, if you look at it that way. Then you look about what happened to you, and I talked about, remember, yesterday the game opportunity, that came about because what happened is, when that injury happened, I found, first of all, once you fully accept and say, okay, let's move on, enough of the crybaby stuff, it's an injury, everybody has it, I can't do this. And just my dominant hand had to be. But now it says, well, wait a minute. Weren't you one that does double weapons and everything? What about your left hand? Well, that's my finesse. This is the power hit of finesse. Put him into play. Then he jumps up. Let me in, coach. And let me start doing this work for you, coach. I'm going to get in there. I'm glad that's the way I trained. Then other parts of your body show up. Hey, you want to use your core when you're cutting this time, not just this arm. You want to start moving because of certain ways. Other parts start to come in to play. That's from my own personal side of issues. But then when you eventually look at it, so did other people step up for this. In the coming episodes, you'll see more about how we're able to make this happen. I thought, hey, let me have my surgery, because in the end, it has to be fixed. I have to get back to where I was. So I needed the surgery. And I took the time to schedule that surgery. But the people who came around me, first of all, I was surprised. Normally we rotate the judges. I was surprised that the show goes, no, you're staying here. Post-surgery, you're going to come back in a sling, and you're going to sit there, and you're going to be a judge. And we're going to find ways that the test will continue on, even if you're not able there, but we want your advice. Like, wow. It was like, yeah, you're more than just the guy who swings weapons on the show. which is interesting because I thought that's all it really was there for. All right, so maybe there to wear something black. No, but it was nice to have that confidence and the following push you on for that, and it felt good that they have my back. But as one with the integrity of I can't stand it, I gotta get back in there because this is what I do. Otherwise, you can find somebody else to rotate that. It's not what it's all about. It's about finding the opportunity now for others to step up around me that have wanted to be with me, and you'll find it out as we go. So it takes something that put me down to rise above it, and a lot of that is really about you guys. When your stories are there, all this passed throughout the summer, you guys and my sharing with you is what is able to allow me to go through my own issues by trying to work it out with your issues and sharing back and forth. I go, how can I be all this like positive, positive, positive? When I'm done, like, oh man, that hurts, and I hate it, and I'm pissed off because I can't train. I just want to hit, you get angry. Anger, that part of the stage, easy for me. I got anger issues. I can put that into play anytime. But holding back and then finding out that in the end, in my own recovery, it is a test of patience, a test of faith, that belongs that, you know what, there's a reason this happened, and you're going to have to rise above that and find it. And the way I look at it now, more good has happened because of this injury, because it's not an injury. It's not a bad thing. It's something that happened that I have to experience. It's part of my life now. Now, what are you going to do about it? You're going to cry about it, or you're going to find other things that develop? Because one thing happens, other things around it develop. And what we've been talking about all this summer, find things that are positive. Find things that make it. What are the things? Because if you don't, you won't see it. And these are the things that I found great about it. That other things will step up to the core, whether my own body, other parts of my body will step up to bat. And my own patience, now it's a challenge. Are you patient enough? Or are you smart enough to really follow what you preach? All these things have to come into play now, and I finally have that chance to do that because of that. If that didn't happen, all these things wouldn't have happened also. Not 100% yet. I'm getting there. And that too will be a process I want to share with you. This is coming to an end. We're filming and we're going to go on a break. And in that break, the 3-month break that we're going on, it's a chance for me to look at it and go, and meeting with the people who care about how I'm going to rehabilitate is complete body transformation. I found out because of this, a really study that my martial arts that I did for 30 years, close to 30 years, created so much imbalances in my body. And I say, but how is that when you're training to do that? Yeah, certain things grow, but you know what? You have to also think of the other stuff that's being hidden. What is that? Runners, for example. Runners run all the time. They have weak legs. I go, really? 60% of the rotator cuff injuries happen from people who are bodybuilding, lifting weights from military press, or just, that's when they snap. I go, really? It goes like, it's the ligaments. It's the other parts of your body that you have to involve. When I was training martial arts, you do all these things and you have a use or lose. But you also have to have the connective tissues involved in every movement that you do. Now I'm a student of that. And so my plan is, when I get back, is to do that whole transformation, not just rehab one part, because that's just one part. When I start to see everybody who stepped up, don't rehab this part when every other part of my body stepped up to play and help out, and then forget about them again. This time say, thank you very much, let's all work together to get this part. That's from my physical point of view. Then from the surrounding friends, the people who came up to support me, these are the things that you would look at in your own way. And I have, once again, Brian to thank for that, because before he passed, we always had these small conversations where he inspired me. He put me in my place. How can I worry about all this when he himself knows he's got a few weeks left? And for that's what he left me with. But he inspired me to think about the blessings and think about everything around us and think about the good. Not just focus on one thing and just be in that whole tunnel vision, and that's all you focus on, and that's all you're going to be stuck with. And that's one of the things that I like from these conversations I have with all of you, is that you remind me that all my experiences, I'm no guru, I'm no nothing, I'm just going to share with you what I've done and try to be positive about it, because I'm learning things from you, and I'm learning things as I share with you along the way. It just brings up all the ideas that I have. So I hope you guys join me in that journey, and I hope you understand now why it is that it's not really, and I like the thing I posted, and I'll talk more about it later on when I post what it is and the fun factors of how I'm going to go and get around all this, because I'm there, but I'm going to be better than where I was, because it's not saying I am recovering from an injury to get there. No, it's a new path I'm taking because it's part of me now. It'll never be the same, but doesn't mean that other parts of me are going to be forged. I'm going to forge a new me, because that's what happens. And let's just take it for what it is. That's what happened to us. That's where we're going, and that's what we can do together. And the whole thing is, once again, to all those, and I can finally come out and say it. Thank you very much for all the stories you share with me and allowing me to share this, because now I'm inspired by you, and I'm taking that and taking it to my journey to share with you. And it was, my apologies, it was very hard not to talk about it, but I was contractually obligated not to talk about any of the things that were going on in the show, and that was one of them. But it's out. I did have an injury. I did go through that. I've had surgery and everything, and I'm going back to the path. But now it's healing, and next, strength and conditioning. I'll share all that with you, because in that journey alone, there are great stories, because I'm going to go in path and try to build something holistically and share my discoveries with everybody. Doug Marcaida here, Morning Cup of Joe. And to all of you, try to give a positive attitude. I know it's just a word, but you know what? That's the only thing that we can control. You're in charge of the way you react to what happens to you. And I'm reminded by that by all the stories that you guys share with me. Take care and have a great day.